So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live here on Donny Cycling YouTube channel. We're going to be bringing you all of the action as we head around the streets of Gotham. So we are in New York City, Gotham Grind, and the Batman puns have already started. And Simon Runnett, Commissioner Gordon Payne. I have been called Gordon before now, but it's usually been followed by all sorts of expletives before or after. Don't forget, of course, our very own Batman today is going to be Russ the Fonzie Downing, and we have our very own Batman in the shape of our red beacon as well. We've got a great course lined up now. I was out riding on Zwift earlier on this week, just checking out all of the roads on the courses around the area, and I have to say I really enjoyed riding around here, but there are no such things as easy roads in New York City. It's really, really tough, and to be honest, I really had a hard time. It was my easiest of rides, and tonight we've got lots and lots of meters of gain. In fact, we've got more climbing today than we had on Tuesday, and really has been mixed up. If you've been watching the video that was sent out to the members earlier on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel, you'll see it really is the Throwback Thursday as well, because it's a long time ago since we actually went out and went into this course. So looks like our riders now are starting to make their way onto the course. Just keeping an eye on the numbers on here, one of the many screens in front of me. Now, let's see if the tech is going to work, because we need to try and get hold of a certain Mr. Downing. So we're going to press the right buttons in the right order, not necessarily at the right time, and let's see if we can get hold of the bear, who should be, hopefully, on the end of a phone line somewhere in a pain cave, keeping cool and keeping out the sun, because we all know bears don't like the sun. So let's see if Russ is on the end of the phone line. So Russ, how are you doing?
I'm not bad, mate. I was just listening to you then saying I better press the right buttons, and I was like on a bit of a panic myself, thinking, oh, which one do I press?
Excellent, I love it. And how's the Bat Cave? Is it nice and cool at the moment?
It's not bad. It's double fanned up. One's on 3, I think, and then one's on heart rate. So, as you all know, the heart rate one won't be doing much for a good 35 minutes, but the other one's on 3. So yeah, it's not bad.
And
actually, I can't actually read it.
It's pretty hot out there at the moment, and we've got quite a big gang tonight, if the numbers are to be believed. But we're on a course that we haven't used for a while on Gotham Grind. But New York, in general, isn't easy, is it? It really is tough stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if probably your guess is as good as mine, or you can tell me when we last came here. But I do remember the ride, but I can't remember when it was. But it's good fun, you know. It's something different. And it's not a short one. It's not a short one. It's not a flat one. So yeah, apologies, guys.
It's a tough Thursday. It's throwback tough Thursday, and I think there'll be a few people sending out the bat signal and looking for the bus and the Batmobile at the back to sweep them all up.
I think it was all mash up madness or something like that this week. So we've just spun it round. You know, Tuesday it was tough, but it wasn't hilly. And then this one's, it's different. Yeah, we all could do with some bat wings or something.
I think you probably could on the hills. Well, we've got about 3.5 minutes to go, so we're going to let you dive on into the gang and see how you get on with the team. I think they're all primed and ready to go, which is always good news. So we'll be looking forward to seeing them in action. And good luck, Russ. I think is probably the right word tonight.
Yeah, I'm just totally forgot about my wheel strategy, and I think I'm just going to gamble it at a disc in the deep section.
Well, it'll work on the downhills, mate. Let's just think of it that way around. It'll be good for the downhill bits, because there isn't any flat.
No, it'll be. Hopefully I'll keep it rolling.
Well, we'll soon find out. We'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, Russ.
Cheers, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ. Let's dive straight into the map here, provided by Zwift Hacks of the Gotham Grind. And we start off in the centre of the course, heading out and around this figure of 8 course. And it is a really tough course. The leading is only 0.3k, literally 300 metres. We then do 5 laps of 9.3 kilometres, which is 46.5k, plus the 3.3 of a k leading. That means that we're going to finish at the main New York City lap banner at 46.8k. Not only that, but we have a phenomenal 480 metres of climbing. So fully expecting this to be in bits very, very early on, particularly because of the profile of the course. And Mike Killingsworth, who is our Robin to Russ's Batman today, doing red beacon duties, is definitely going to have his hands full, I think, today because of the profile of the course. If we switch over to the Velo Viewer profile, you can see from the Velo Viewer profile, this is not flat now. We start on the right-hand side, the eastern side of the upper loop, and we then drop down onto the lower loop. We go around the lower loop in an anti-clockwise direction, and then back onto the upper loop in a clockwise direction, and then round the lower loop, then onto the upper loop, and then round the lower loop, and so on. Basically 5 full laps. Now, this means that for our riders to replicate Tuesday's superb riding, the great group, the great gang, fantastic teamwork, red beacon looking after the guys at the back, everybody close together, is going to take some doing. Now, we have got lots of our regulars on. I've just seen that we've got Sarah Grimshaw on here. Looks like Caroline Mansfield joining. Kieran Smith, Ted's on here. Simon Runnett, Simon Booth, Bobby Mason's on. Seeing Nadie Dench on here. Tim Cooper as well. Chris Ball. Lots and lots of our regular riders on here. They need to work together, and they know what to do. Let's face it, they know this the game inside out, and they know how it's played. So with the riders lined up at the start line, we're going to go take a little bit of a look down at the riders in about literally 2 seconds time, because the riders are lined and ready to go. So let's take a quick look from above. You can just see the yellow beacon down on the front row. Our red beacon, that's Mike Killingsworth. He is in the back row of the grid, and hopefully everybody's going to stay together in that nice, neat block as we see them at the moment. So our riders up and riding away. Let's watch them as they head out from the blocks, and hopefully they're going to get regrouped pretty quickly. We're going to jump up with the helicopter. As you can see, top right-hand side of your screen is the map. That shows us whereabouts on the course we are. 5 full laps. We're going to try and keep count, Russ and I. Please do keep count at home, because do you know what? It gets very, very tricky when the guys are riding as quick as they do, particularly when Russ hits the button and they all head up and riding. So, riders underway. Let's dive in live with the Donny Chaingang here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel, and let's catch up with the riders out there. So it looks like just about everybody out from the blocks here. Looks like one rider definitely just off the back of the gang, just trying to chase back on again. Let's have a little bit of a look to see just who is where. Looks like Shelley Childs in the main part of the gang working the way in and along, and we're just trying to jump back to find who's at the very back. Now, we do find on the courses on New York that the time gaps on the right are not always uber correct, it has to be said. So let's take a little bit of a look. Where's our red beacon? Here he comes. So just seeing Mike Killingsworth just trying to jump on, and I think he's got Jeff Saysel behind, just chasing hard at the moment to get back in with the group here. So Jeff's really going to have to put the boot in at the moment. May well need a little bit of help. That's just coming out from the blocks there, and Jeff just being distanced a little here, putting in some big numbers here, trying to push his way up into the group as we come round the join on the map. And look at that, Jeff absolutely nailing it in and through. Just seeing, I think that was Keith Richardson, just dropping back for him in the red and blue, but absolutely flying at the moment. And I think the group really do need to start getting their act together very quickly indeed today, because the gang are going to be definitely up against it. So, as Jimmy Allen says, the bunch will be like an accordion today, and you can watch the numbers. Now, normally we don't keep the numbers up on the right-hand side all the way through, but it's particularly important as we watch our riders coming in and through, because you'll see the gradients just go up and down like a yo-yo, and it really is going to take its toll on all of our riders in that group. That is for certain. So it looks like everybody backing off on the front there, just seeing one or two people just a little bit far in front. They're just easing off the numbers by the look of it. So they've pushed on a little bit far, which is going to ensure that the back of the gang can get together. Now remember, this is a figure of 8 course, so we're just coming around the lower loop at the moment, and this is going to take some real focus to hold everybody in together as they head in and around. There's some familiar names on here. Looks like we've got Mr. Cooper back in. Good to see Tim is in with us, so you can just see Tim in here, and Tim just sitting in the green and black. Jimmy Allen, well, Jimmy in his very familiar Mondrian strip. And interestingly, Jimmy gone for the disc wheel combo, but he's got the lighter disc wheel combo. That's the multicolour one, and that is a little bit easier to climb with if you do hit the hills with it. Kieran Smith, no doubt, on his traditional black and yellow Tron bike with the all-black kit. And Mr. Richardson hovering around the back, just waiting to give Mike Killingsworth and Miss Cookie a hand on to the group. So Johnny Atkinson rolling around at the back, and this is going to be entertaining. Jimmy Allen, it's not flat, mate. It's 484.80 meters of climbing today, and that is definitely going to take its toll, definitely. Yep, as Russ says, Cruiser Drags, you look after the chain. Looks like Martin Bolton here in the Zeb Peugeot, that classic Zeb Peugeot kit, and interestingly gone for the super light frame. Mr. Booth now, Booth was on an absolute flyer. He was running really strongly on Tuesday. Gone for an aero, lightweight aero frame there, slightly lighter wheels as well. So Till just cruising at the back here, just making sure, just sitting nicely in with the group. Jason Stevens in here. Mr. Campbell in the group as well. Good to have you back, sir. And just jumping in. Looks like we've got the legendary, the doyen of all things when it comes to the spreadsheet. It is Gail Phillips there in that Lamprey-inspired kit. And Gail, of course, one of our very most favourite people, because she has the wonderful job, I say wonderful in inverted commas, job of making sure all of our red beacons are on the right dates and are turning up, and we've got the right email addresses, etc. So good to have Gail back in with us, and I know Gail has been very busy working as well as riding, so good to see you here. Now let's take a little bit of a look. We've got Caroline Mansfield in here. Caroline again going for a nice aero frame here, slightly deeper rims, and you will find a lot of our lighter riders will go for the assistance on the fast sections, because when you're light, that's where you really do have to push on as our riders make their way in and through. You can just see coming up to this crossover point on the route, so our riders are just coming across again to head along this same section of road. They've come at it from the opposite side from the start line. They're now coming from the lower, smaller loop. They're going to go up the joining link road here and take the right hand to the T-junction at the top and move across from there. And at the moment, as you can see, Caroline riding well in here and go for that slightly deeper rim combo, which will give her a little bit more pace and speed and make life a little bit easier on those downhill sections. One man who has definitely no need of the assistance on the flat, but has gone for a disc wheel setup, is Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, the man who blew everybody away on Tuesday, coming in across the line first. Not only did he have the biggest power output, but he also saved an aero power up right for the line. Great riding by Mason, and just going to try and get a look from above at Mason, just over on that right hand side, cruising that white line in the all black kit, and at the moment on the wrong side of the gang. If you're wondering why the drone's not flying, well, if we pull our drone up in the air, I have to say we do struggle a little bit because it doesn't want to fly sideways for some reason at the moment. In fact, it doesn't want to go up, down, or sideways, or zoom in and out, so it's going to get very little use today. Is the drone. So we'll be playing with that, no doubt, after the game. Good to see Andy Ross is back with us as well. Andy in that British triathlon kit, another very strong rider, sat nicely in with this group. Vin Donahue in here now. Vin will be riding in the Downing Cycling grey kit with the green stripe, dead centre of the screen there, and looks like just hovering around the wheels. Looks like Dick Samuel is in this same group. He's riding in that orange jersey. You just pick him out, tucked in there. So the orange jersey, the Grenadiers orange jersey, that is Dick Samuel in here. One of our regular riders, Mr. Gibbons, is in the gang as well. Just going to try and take a look at Mr. Gibbons. Going to be in that Downing Cycling coach jersey as well. And Shelley Charles, well, there's no guesses, no process for guessing if you know Shelley what kit Shelley is in. Shelley is in the Continental jersey there, and riding along strongly, and another of our regular riders now. Looks like Sean Ferris in here, in from 1080. Well, Ian is usually on a Tron bike. He is in the pink with that pink and orange kit here, and looking pretty smooth at the moment, and the gang just rolling along. We're just going to take a look. Looks like Greg Booker just pushing up from the back of the group here as these roller coasters really do take the toll. It's about taking it steady on the front, on the climbs, and let the group do the pacing and do the speed, and that will drag everybody along. Up onto our next climb, and as you can see, the back of this section of the course, it is pretty horrible here. It's 10% is the gradient as you come around this corner, heading in towards the lakeside, and it drags on up and over the top. A nasty, nasty little bit of climb, and definitely going to take its toll on the riders as they come up and over. So Booker goes through in the blue, and you can just see behind him the gang just dragging the group along, and splitting a little bit as it goes over the top, and you can see already lined out. So that was a tough little climb, and it's snaked out already. You don't need to push over the top of these climbs. If you do so, then that is when we start to have issues with riders starting to be distanced from the group. So this is all about making sure that you don't push over the top if you're on the front, and if you're at the back of the group, do push over the top, and then what you'll find is it all tends to come back together again. So you can see big splits opening up amongst the riders and in the groups as they head through, and it opens out, it compresses back together, it opens out, it compresses back together again. And you can see here, as you can see, the front just having to ease off and roll over the tops, whilst the back pushes over, and then that will allow it to come back together. If the front push over the top, basically what happens is they shoot off the end and go yo-yoing off a very tough route, this, and I've got my own little bet on how long it stays together, I must admit. Now Steve Hilbert in here. You can see Steve just backing off that pressure, currently at 0.8, just letting it roll in and letting that group come together. Booth's in here. Genther's doing the same now. Craig Genther, another rider who's on an absolutely storming ride on Tuesday in that grey DCG Downing Cycling. It's the Downing Cycling coach, the rider's top now of these three riders in there. He is currently the one on the Tron bike. So it looks like it is definitely yo-yoing at the front and the middle, and by the look of it at the back as well. Keith Richardson, one of the riders, just helping at the back with Rich Orrell by the look of it here. Rich in the grey, just pushing along with the green Tron bike, and Richardson moving up and through on his wheel, and Richardson just going to put a little bit of a kick in to get himself back into the group. The back of the group just holding in, trying to get maximum advantage, particularly on this descent. It's -4, -3, -2% as they come down here, and into the right-hand turn and across on the Lincoln Road at the other end of the park here. So you can just see Richardson and Orrell Campbell just having to squeeze on through to get themselves into the group here, and just pushing into the back of the pack comes Richardson and Orrell, with Killingsworth now being the rider who's rolling at the back there, and just sitting in with Mike as they come up and over. Now that little drop across the park, well, the payback time is as you come around the turns. The gradient eases as you come around this right hand turn, and then you go along the back of the park back towards the lakeside, and guess what? It's another roller coaster on the way through. Not that that should be a surprise to anybody, because it is New York City, and it is very, very, very roller coaster. It is very, very tough stuff. And at the moment, the bus sitting in with the gang, it is holding together nicely. We're waiting to get back to one lap of 5 complete. But at the moment, I'm very impressed, I must admit, by just how everybody is managing to keep the gang together. And it is holding together well. Let's take a look. Looks like Phil's in here. Phil OZK of the Donny Chaingang, and of course Sitwell in the group. Looks like Mr. Crease is back in with us. Paul Mallin again. Good to see Paul back in the group. It looks like Trevor Crehan's in the group as well, just in with Paul at the moment. And to be honest, at the moment, very difficult to keep in and keep an eye on absolutely everyone, because everybody's so tightly bunched together, which is great to see. Now it looks like Sonia Inslee is in the gang. We're going to drop in on Sonia. I'm sure Sonia in the all black, just onto this 7% ride. So onto the climb here, just push it up as we come along towards the side of the lake here. You can just see the shoreline actually just up above behind that railing. So Sonia in here, another of our very regular riders on the Chaingang, and just keeping it nice and smooth as she moves up. Good to see Antonio and Donny back with us as well. Donny in the group once again, and interesting to see he's stuck with the same kit and bike and wheels as he was wearing on Tuesday, and a lot of riders do that. Just stay on the same bike, kit and wheels, don't change it for the differing rides, the consistency it gives. Personally, I need every bit of help I can get, so mine changes with every single ride. Pretty much trying to get the most bang for my buck, or my very limited bucks, to make sure that I can stay with the riders I need to. So the lumpy, bumpy sections of hill continue to make life entertaining for the riders at the moment. Just keeping an eye, looking at Kieran Smith just dropping off the back of the pack and making his way through. So it's Kieran Smith, then Craig Gensler, Mike Killingsworth rolling nicely at the back here. Remember, push on if you're in the group, and you are at the back, aim to sit on Russ. If you're at the front and you're disappearing away from Russ, and knock the pedals off, particularly as you roll over the crest of the hills on this particular course. And that is the way to keep the group together. Great training if you're going to go race this route, because if you are going to race the route as a part of an event and you're going to race it later on in the season, if you're going to race this, one of the key things to do, the way to break a group up, if you want to break it up coming into the finish, is to push right over the top of the hills. If you want to keep the group together, to keep it together for a sprint, or maybe you're chasing down riders in front and you want to keep that pack together, work really hard on the run in towards the base, but then don't push over the top and stretch it out if you're one of the stronger riders in the pack. Really a very useful tactic to use, particularly on this course. And remember, the Gotham grind is all part of the big course that's used as currently part of the map. So the map challenge, a few riders with the caps, with the hats, and looks like pretty much everybody in this group together. and riding nice and strongly now. Till just dropped off the back here, so just keeping an eye now. Clearly an experienced Swift have been up the Dwarf just at least once, and just see a bit of a kick here from Till, just pushing back into the group at the back. So Chris Till just winding it up a little bit, getting back into the group here. And if we take a look with Chris, if you just start rolling his way into the group and coming down. So we have 4 laps left to go. 4 to go for our riders, Richardson and Killingsworth, all hovering around the back. This pack holding together very well. I must admit, my bet is now out of the window because I thought we'd been broken before we got to 1 lap to go. But basically, the group are working together nice and smoothly into this transfer road once again. At the moment, everybody are working well together. And now we're just going to keep an eye. Remember, it's round the yellow beacon at the moment, and the aim is to sit at round about 2 watts per kilo, 2.5 watts per kilo at the moment, please, guys. So across the join road they go, and in towards the left-hand turn. Well, the group holds together as we come in towards that sprint line. Just started to get a little bit stretched out, a little bit strung out by the roller coasters as they come through. Just jumping in with Daryl Tashall Waller, Daryl TW as he's on the screens. And you can usually guarantee in the early stage of the ride, Daryl rolling around with the yellow beacon, just helping keep everything nice and smoothly together, and everybody just getting themselves new PBs on the way through for the sprint time. Shows how many people have actually been out on this course recently as well, because it was a nice steady run through. 13-second time on the sprint though, pretty respectable. 12 seconds I think, and that was probably going to be Caroline who went from the back towards the front of the group during that sprint section, and taking that jersey. So whilst the riders are riding nice and smoothly round here, let's see if we can drop in with the one and only Russ Downing. Hopefully it's going to be on the end of the phone line, and we can catch up with the man who's currently rolling around at the back, pretty much emulating the red beacon. In fact, the yellow and the red beacons both very close together indeed. So round the corner they go, and at the moment Russ sat on there. So Russ, you seem to be shadowing our beacon up there.
Just getting round, mate. Actually, I'm just watching the watts, keeping them nice and tight. But yeah, it's a good first lap there, really. You know, a bit strung out after one of the climbs, but you know, we'll all soon. The coffee will wear off, and all the caffeine gels and things, and we'll all settle down. So yes. It's good. It's ticking away nicely, you know. We're 50 odd k an hour on the descent at times, so yeah, we're moving.
Yeah, the group is moving, and as we've said, and I know you were putting it out on the message board, when you've got the group like this, it is really about the front of the group easing just before they get to the top of the climb to allow the back to push into it on the climbs, and then as you come into the climb for the people at the back to push over the top. And if you do that, that group will stay together, and it's really handy when you're racing it, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, you mentioned it there, it's really handy when you're racing it. It's the same in real life, you know. Went out with the Out the Saddle Chaingang yesterday, and they were, you know, different abilities, but they all they smashed the PR there just because they all rode pretty well together. They weren't waiting for anyone on the climbs, but they weren't nailing it over the top and gapping the wheels. So, you know, it's all about we've always said a chain gang is about keeping the chain tight, no gaps in between, and getting it on. As Jimmy Allen says, impressive blob on this course. So he knows the drill.
He does, and Gareth Mason agreeing with him with the very there. I mean, everybody is saying it. It is great to hold. And I mean, I must admit, I didn't think we'd stay together this long. I thought we'd be smashed to pieces. But do you know what? There's a lot of strong riders at the back helping out as well. Just giving that strength in depth to the guys at the back, and having, if you have 10 or 15 bodies sat just around the yellow or just behind yellow, it makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Because they're all helping break the wind for those, if you've only got a few riders in there who are just on their limit, and everybody's limit is different.
Yeah, it's like that. You get a few strong riders spread out around the peloton. And, you know, the guy who's slightly losing the wheel can focus on someone. You know, and like, right, if I can get to Ted or I can get to Ian, I can carry on back and pull a few places up. But the aim of keeping it together is don't surge it. Just like I say, you know, I'm saying 2.5s here, but if you realise you're slightly gapped, just squeeze it to just over 2.5. But you know, just to press the wheel, but don't do it at the top of a climb, because then it's just gonna open a can of worms, and it's like under nines football, chasing it.
Yeah, definitely, and that's certainly what we don't want to see. And but the group, I mean, you've been chatting away, and I keep on flicking the map round, trying to see a break in this thing, and it's not happening. It's absolutely, it's a pleasure to see, and this is what we want. This is what we want to see.
They must be all tuned in, mate, and listening.
If only. If you are tuned in and if you're enjoying the footage, make sure you go on to the YouTube channel. Make sure you do click a like on there. It helps offset the persistent naysayers. There are one or two trolls that have a habit of putting thumbs down to stuff, and we want to obviously outweigh those. It always helps when it comes to the stats. And don't forget, of course, that you need to make sure that you're part of the DCG gang. Basically, if you donate to the Donny Chaingang and you're not either an absolute lunatic or banned, then generally you'll find yourself admitted into the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang. And that means that you get all the links direct. We get lots of discount codes for you, and everything from an extra 10% over and above anything else that you'll be able to get from Ian at 1080 for the Oakleys, right the way through to coffee from Grand Tour Coffee, gritty equipment, as well as 20% on OTE. So plenty of advantages of joining, and we will be having some block tickets going out for the September right the way through to December. So if you don't want to have to remember it every month, then don't forget, when it comes to September, you will, at the end of August, you'll be able to buy the September right the way through to December tickets in there, and that will make your life a little bit easier because you don't have to remember each month to press the right button. So Russ, at the moment, it's just stringing a little bit, but we're on that section where we're coming into the big climb towards the lakeside, and it's going to get pretty tough again quite quickly, isn't it? But it's draggy at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely going the right way. You know, there's nothing major happening, and we're going at a good tempo. So I say, as we talk, the road ramps up to 6-7%.
Oh yeah, so it's going to go to 10 in a minute.
when it goes red, so does everything else, faces, legs, everything. But you know, stay up. Some power ups going there, but it's just on the top there. Just blip it off one for these first couple of laps, and everyone has such a great ride, and then we can all have fun at the end.
Yep, definitely, and you can just see the pace went down. It's gone from 50k an hour on the downhills to 10k ph as we came and hit that 10%, and that is just to speed up and slow down. But if we can keep it together as a group on this, that skill that people are getting, the skill level, the ability to modulate the power and the pace when you're on Zwift, it pays off in spades when you want to go race it and actually go take on people in competition.
Yeah, and like I say, even in races or in this Chaingang, what it'll do, if there's no gaps, everyone will get back up to speed quicker, and you don't lose the time, you don't lose the distance, the gaps, lose the energy, waste the energy. So, you know, we keep saying about the blob, and it's the way to move forward faster is together.
Definitely. Well, we're just seeing three riders off the back here, and this is our red beacon in here leading them through at the moment. It's about 3 seconds the gap. Just coming through, looks like Richardson's dropped back yet again. And gotta say, Keith Richardson, he does shift after shift after shift to bring people back on again. He's one of the real hard workers at the back there. I don't know whether he's wanted to be a domestic for a pro team. That was his ambition in life. But you know what? He does an amazing job of dropping back for people.
I think, yeah, if we had a DCG team, I'd pick him as domestic for sure.
I tell you, he's absolutely. He goes back, he helps out, he gets strength index, he gets the numbers there, and looks like the red beacon just back into the group, just trying to jump on to the beacon and take a little bit of a look. A couple of stronger riders just pushing on here. Ted and Gareth License just dropping into the back by the beacon, and that's what we want to see. And I think this group should get back together pretty quickly at the back here. Just a little distance by the front, but the pace has picked up that little bit, and now nicely making our way. We've gone along the lakeside, so we're going to be coming around. We're going to do our turnaround and then come back down the far side of the lake very shortly, but looking okay at the moment. And Russ, I think we better let you get back to keeping an eye on everybody and keeping it all together.
I was all right there. I was listening to you when you were saying we're going up here and coming backwards, because I do get lost in New York. I don't come here often enough, so listening to you then, I just looked for that banner and just said, right, 3 to go, tick them off, you know.
Definitely. So we just taking the right hand turn. This is the fast drop down here, 57k, 58k ph. Take the right hand turn, then we go back up. We got a little climb up to the lakeside, and then along past the lake, and the drop down into the start. So about a quarter of a lap left of this, with 4 laps to go. So it'll be 3 to go, as you said on the line. So Russ, good luck, mate. Keep counting back. Wish you're doing a better job than me, and we will catch up later, hopefully, before it all goes a little bit peaked on.
Yeah, cheers, mate, and keep calling the shots.
Cheers, mate. So great to catch up with Russ there, who is nice and busy out on the gang. And our riders nicely pretty much stuck together as one group. Just watching Mike Killingsworth just jump onto the back of the pack here. So Mike, one of our regulars here, and I think Mike just riding that Pinarello, the F there, nice grey and black frame, and nicely aero as well. Some semi-deep wheels in there to give him a little bit of aero assistance on this rolling course, and it is a little bit catch-22. If you go for super lightweight wheels, they're easier on the climbs, but you don't get as much momentum rolling in and through. And just seeing a real mix of wheels from our riders. AD, of course, going for this multicoloured disc, which I have to admit would be probably my choice on this course, just because once the pack rolls really fast, then they do make life that little bit easier. You just got to roll them up the climbs, and that's where we're heading at the moment. As we move up onto the side of the lake again, you're just coming around the edge, and this is where it kicks in as you climb up towards the edge of the lakeside in Central Park before rolling along the lakeside down towards the line once again. So it looks like Booth at the moment, nicely tucked in here, not expending too much energy. And this is key. Got Mr. Garfoot in here now. John Garfoot was riding very strongly on Tuesday. And again, nice deep wheels in there. Just going for a little bit of aero on that. Specialised, the grey S-Works frame of nicely aero frame to ride on this course. Just ahead of Mr. Ferron here, Sean Ferron. And the orange and black, just going along that side. Mason there in the all black, and again deep rims for Mason. So Mason in the all black with the disc wheel on the back and deep rim on the front, playing to his strengths. And you can just see the gang just starting to stretch out a little bit. The people just maybe a little twitchy on the front. The gap's just starting to open up a little bit, and looks like it's about 10 seconds from back to front at the moment. But the man who's I think right at the back, we're just going to have to do a double check, is actually going to be our yellow beacon. So it looks like the yellow beacon sat on the back, and as we take a little bit of a look up, gaps just starting to open up between these groups. So you can just see behind Sarah, she's got a group of about 6 riders tucked onto her wheel. If we take a look up the road from Sarah's view, you can just see Richardson here pushing on, and Richardson just trying to close the gaps down here. Looks like Jimmy Allen dropping back a little bit here, just wanting to give people something to grab hold of on the way past. Same with Mason doing the same. I'm just going to take a little bit of a run up the hillside towards Till. You can just see at the moment these groups are a little bit fractured, and the gaps have opened. And remember, we are on about 3 laps to go when we hit the line this time. So it's 3 laps to go when we hit the line this time. We're just making our way along, and Till at the moment sat in no man's land as Russ just tries to sort out the tech at the back. So looks like he's just making his way on his Till onto the back of Rich Charles' wheel. I think this is going to be almost the main group together. There are a few people a bit further up the front. So as you can see, the gap's just stretching out on the very front of the pack. The group around Sonia Inslee just pulling together. Looks like Richard Lymead in this group as well. So people need to pay attention. The big pack should be able to pull 1 or 2 back as we drop down in towards the right-hand turn here. Just in with Michael Hutchinson here. Coos looks on the Stellaton. Just freewheeling in that downhill now. Just giving it a little bit of a kick to take himself around that right-hand turn in that group with the red beacon at the moment. And as the riders go absolutely hurtling past, the only rider actually who's I think potentially having a hard time is Russ, who's just off the back at the moment. So Russ just sorting some tech. The front has definitely eased off. You can see by the top of the screen the map just showing everybody coming back together again. So it looks like another party dropping back for Russ here. Eddie Dench, Simon a runner, I think it is. Killingsworth is in here, dropping back as well. Just looking to just give Russ a hand back on to the group coming up. Raining ride-ons as they come through. Atkinson doing the same as again. Look at that. Atkins, who was down at 0.7 watts per kilo there, quickly kicks up to 7.2 to get this group back together again. And you know what, guys, that is absolutely superb work. Once people saw that the gang had split, quickly back together again, and that is what we want to see. So 20k in at the moment, and we are now on to the middle lap of 5. So time for people to keep a track of what's happening at the back. Remember, the gang, even though Russ is back in, we're still seeing Mike Killingsworth doing plenty of work here, just trying to keep everybody together. Looks like Stevens just pushing to get back into the group at the moment. Cookie is as well. And again, Sarah Wunt, another of our lighter riders. So what happens is the lighter riders, the moment it goes downhill, they have to go wind it right up to stay in with the gap, with the riders in front. And you can just see Sarah looking smooth here, just working away onto the back of Adi. The main pack a little strung out here. Russ has just gone up to the front, I think, just to calm things down a bit. The group at the back well and truly strung out. We've just seen Dench and Stevens, then Cookie and Killingsworth. Killingsworth just sat on the back here doing a great job holding everything together today. So Mike Killingsworth, one of our regular riders, and good to have all of our volunteers on the Chaingang, because they make a huge difference to how the ride runs here. So it looks like the gap's just starting to open as we come on to the less than 3 laps to go at the moment. So Atkinson at the moment just hanging on the back, just giving Killingsworth a bit of a target to aim at, but I think there's about 50 metres from Killingsworth to the front of the group. Cookie at the moment not getting assistance. Remember, it's a 6-metre gap, and Cookie just pushing to get in to the slipstream here of our red beacon. Atkinson at the moment just sitting off the back of the group, so looks like we've made it into 3 laps to go before the group has fractured. We're just going to take a little bit of a check on the front of the group here. Russ sat nicely in the pack, and yet again with this little bit of a roller coaster, it's starting to break again. So it looks like there's a real chase here by Cookie and Killingsworth to get back onto the back of this group here. This is where they could just do with a little bit of assistance from the gang. So I know plenty of people will be watching on YouTube. Guys, if you are watching them, please, guys, let's have 2 or 3. They're almost back on. Look at this. I don't need to tell Mr. Richardson. Definitely doing an amazing job here, because guess who has dropped back to give him a hand to get back on here as they kick it up, and Atkinson's done the same as again. So Atkinson, another of our regular riders here, just dropping back, giving them a hand, just giving them a little bit of a tow, drop behind, then sprint up and push on past. Doing a great job. Greg Booker's doing exactly the same. Thank you very much, Greg. Good to have Greg on the gang as well. And definitely a rider who does an amazing job in with the team here, as Greg just drops back, giving all these riders just that little bit of a tow, and here they come. So this is the gang at the back, just pushing to get back together again. I might have to take it all back. We've not broken again. I think they're going to get back together again if the front just is very careful here. You could get them just in. I think the gang not quite on yet. So our riders on the back of the park at the moment, it's just about all together here. And that is nasty stuff as you come through here. And what we're going to find now, it's a little bit roller coaster as Greg back into the group here, because we're rolling around just over. So the back of the pack here having to do about 2.5 to 2.8 watts per kilo just to try and stay in with the group. And if you watch these numbers, the riders up near the back, just to stay in with the pack, they are having to put out some serious power at the moment. Looks like Antonio just dropping back with Mike Killingsworth here. Looks like Craig Entherd just patrolling the back of the bunch. We are going to come in towards this climb. Remember, we go in towards the climb up the side onto the side of the lakeside. This is the part of the course that has a 10% rise coming up. Got to hope they're going to all manage to keep together as they come up onto this section. Just riding in with Martin Bolt at the moment. So in with Martin, just sat at the back as the main part of the pack already, kicking into that big steep section of the climb. 10% comes the kicker. Just watching Martin's power at the moment. Already starts going, looks like Till just stopped at the side of the course there, not wanting to go too far. So Chris Till at the moment. Just giving a little bit of a gap here. Not sure if Chris has got a tech issue, but looks like he's just sat at the side of the course, just in with Martin. You can just see, if you look at the top right hand side of the screen, you can see just how spread out it is as our riders go up this climb. So Till pushing back on towards the front of the group. Bucket in here. Dench rolling at the back of the pack with Booth, Genther, Bolt in here. I think Russ hopefully back in on the tech. You can just see the yellow beacon up the road there, just being stretched out. So our duo on the way round here. Remember, we're well in to the middle lap of 5. Booker just waiting to push back into this group. Till and Richardson here. Dench sat in with this pack as well. So Booker at the moment just chasing into the back of the group. Richardson doing the same. Till doing the same. This is a run off the back of the lake. Slightly easier for most of the riders on this section. Andy Ross nicely in the group. Charles in here. Just seeing Chris Ball, John Garfer in here. Looks like Jimmy Allen nicely in this group. Jason Stevens in here. Mr. Crease in the group. Caroline Mansfield holding this pack well. Remember Caroline, of course, from Gritty with the big giveaways, and we've got the socks coming out to our riders in the prizes for the riders who all finished the Tour de France tribute on the Donny, Chaingang. Caroline from Gritty clearly feeling good at the moment as she goes on the right hand turn, pushing the pace up on this downhill. She knows that this is where things get tricky, and as the riders dive down there, the pace really shot up, and that's where lighter riders, people like Caroline, really do have to push on to make sure that they don't lose the wheels. That's why you find the lighter riders keeping the pace high on the downhill, just trying to stay in with the group. It's very easy to get distance at that point. So Richardson and Booth at the back of this pack take the turn to come back around. Again, a slight downhill run in towards the climb back up to Lakeside on the perimeter road here around the edge of Central Park in New York. So just watching our riders going through here. Far too easy to drop across to the avatar. Sat on the line, our poor old commentary avatar. Never gets any points, never goes anywhere. Don't even let it loose to do the recce's. If you want to see us get a sneak preview of where we may be heading, then don't forget you need to be jumping on to give Russ and myself, Matt Payne, a follow on Zwift. You'll find that occasionally we may give some hints by being out on the courses, checking out where we're maybe heading in a few months' time. Got quite a list of routes saved up, and probably one of the most fun parts of the running the Chaingang over the past 18 months or so has been that we've had some great fun picking routes and finding out what works and what doesn't. We know what we're looking for, don't always find it. It doesn't always work out that every route works properly. Now, just keep an eye here. So it looks like Phil Ozike just at the back of this pack, just behind Martin Bolt. Bolt will be able to see Ozike there. Looks like Mason rolling around in the back here, as well as Dench, Booth in here, Ferrens in this group, Atkinson rolling around the pack at this point. So looking pretty smooth at the moment. So our riders on the rundown, we now are going to be coming up to 2 laps to go when we hit the line this time. The gang looking pretty smooth at the moment. The red beacon not all that far behind. So the together, Jimmy Allen sat in this group, working well at the moment. Just the helicopter up in the sky above, keeping an eye on the riders. Just going to come down past the pens where we were starting off, 300 metres before the start of the route. Is about 300 metres out from the pen. Take the right hand turn and then in towards the gantry, which you're going to see coming up pretty soon. It's just in with Owen Davies' view here. So Owen's going to come in towards the line. It's going to be 2 laps to go as they hit the line this time. So over half ride distance as through underneath the gantry to go. So it looks like 2 laps to go for the gang. Just going to be taking a little bit of a look through this group. The pace picks up as you drop through that line, and just watching the back of this group, I just want to see where Mr. Booth is, because Booth is one of our regular contenders at the moment. Just dropped a little bit further back, and looks to me like it is going to get a little strung out just as they come around this corner. It's Booth, the rider who is distance solo off the back at the moment. So just trying to drop back before we get to the next junction, the next fold in the page. Easier said than done, so we'll be riding with Darrell Tashawalla. This joint section, one of the fun parts of the course if you're trying to keep track of the riders. I'll soon be round onto the left-hand turn and then the run down towards the sprint line. So this is a slight riser before the drop down in towards the sprint line, often used to break up a race if people are out and racing at the moment. The group, though, all under the instructions from us to keep everything together and to hold the group as one pack, and it looks like that's the case. Nobody pushing on too hard over the top at the moment. So plenty of new sprint times coming in for people, and that's again because this group just moving quicker and quicker on the way through. So just keeping an eye on Mike Killingsworth and Miss Cookie riding well, just coming round in towards the sprint line as the front of the pack just gone away from that section. Looks like pretty much everybody together at the moment. The pace is getting a little bit hotter, just naturally getting quicker. Let's go and take a little bit of a look at the back of this group. Just seeing one or two people just go back. Looks like Keith Richards at the moment. Just at the back of the gang here, just distanced a little bit as Barton is up here. I think Barton just rolling onto the back wheels here. Looks like Campbell just on the back of this group as well. Cooper's in here. Richards continues to push in towards the back of the pack. That's the group nicely all together at the moment. So less than 2 laps to go now on the Donny Chaingang, coming up for 52 minutes. So Malin are rolling on in there. Looking good at the moment. Well, the pack are rolling nicely together as they come into this crossover section of road. Once again, they're going to do the right-hand turn. Just rolling in at the moment with Steve Hilbert. Hilbert in the green there, looking good, keeping it together. Steve, another of our regulars on the Donny Chaingang. It's like Barton and on his way through... Davis doing the same. So coming up for the riders at the moment, just making their way along the side here. If we zoom out up on to the big side lap, now making the way up towards the big lake. So the in front of the riders now, we have this little kicker, a slight roller coaster section. And then we've got the kick up to the side of the big lake. So onto that steeper section of the upper lake. Once they've completed that steep section, they've got the lakeside, then the drop down, and then it will be 1 lap to go. So the group pretty much smooth together. And it looks like everybody in this front pack just making sure they don't expend too much energy just yet. They know this is a tough course and nobody wants to go on their own. It really is a tricky course. So basically roller coaster now in towards the steep kicker up on to the lakeside. Once you've gone up the lakeside, you can just see it up in front. We've got the slight left, tight right, open left, and then the tightening right gives us our steepest section. And looks like everybody keeping it nice and smooth at the moment, and that is what we want to see. So everybody pretty much all together here as we make our way in towards that lake. So just rolling with Craig Genther, 9% kicker, 10% kicker coming in as we come up into the late side. We said this is where it gets tough on the way through, and you can just see everybody really feeling this behind Russ. The group strung out, starting to see ones and twos at the back of that pack. And you can just see split starting to form about 2/3 of the way down this group at the moment, so certainly it looks to me like it's starting to fracture at the back on this drop down. Remember, they're just coming up on towards the lake side here. So down they go, next kicker coming up. And here we go, 7%, 8%, and the go has gone. Russ has hit the button. Here it's time to see who's got the power. Look at that, everybody's putting in a massive kick. Let's go with Mr. Dowtree at the moment, because he is right in with this group. This is where things get scary. At the moment, looks like Carl Johnson absolutely smashing the front to pieces here. As they go up, it has blown the gang to pieces here. They're all over the road. You just see Mason on the front of this. Genther's in there. Dubash is trying to sit in with that group in the green there. It's like Richardson doing the same, trying to kick his way in. Atkinson's right up there as well. A.D. Dench making his way up into the gang. And you can just see Shelley Charles on a great ride here. Osman's right in at the front. Looks like Andy Ross is in here. So a real mix of riders at the front. This is still quite a big pack at the front. Now they're going to go into this big descent here. So it's a fast drop down. Then a sharp right-hand turn. 63, 64 kph, 65 kph as they come down this slope. And then it's going to be the tight right as they come in here. So this is our leading group going around that turn at 60 kph. It levels off. What's the gap going to be behind? You can see the riders are in ones and twos behind them. So it really has exploded out here. Everything really is left to play for, to use that old commentary pun, and it certainly looks to be like everybody is trying to nail it at the moment. It is going to be very tough to make sure they get themselves into place at the right time, because at the moment they've got to stay right at the front, and there's a big pack coming around that right hand turn. This is a large group to pull into the finish, and it looks like Booth and Atkinson up on the front at the moment, just trying to string this out. They've got company right up there. We're just going to try and work our way around. You can see just how tricky this course is to stay with our leaders. So Craig Genther it is, the man whose continual attacking made life very difficult for everybody else, and really gave Russ and Mason a hard time when they were racing before. And look at this, another big kick in, 9 watts per kilo is up alongside Phil Ozk. Is back with us on the Chaingang, and Phil in the red there in that bike and a beard jersey, rolling up alongside. Looks like Vin Donahue is in here once again. That Mason up on the front, Dench second wheel, Atkinson third wheel, Donahue fourth wheel at the moment. This is gonna be fast as on the way in through, because you can just see we're up alongside the lake now. We're gonna have just over 1 lap to go now, and at the moment the group at the front just keeping the pace smooth, I think, and losing people off the back more by attrition here. So it looks to me like Kooslugs just about holding in with this pack here. So a few people still behind him. Russ in the group there, just going to drop back. It looks like Crehan hanging on just about here. What's happening behind Crehan? Well, you can see they are in ones and twos. Cooper having to push up to try and stay in with this group. Goddard's doing the same. Can Goddard push into this group? Dubash, wow, look at this, the gaps are opening, and Dubash has to keep pushing. That gap is now at a second, and that is a big enough gap behind Samol. You can just see Dubash now going to struggle with that. Garfus at 6 seconds. Ball Johnson are with him. Then it's going to be a gap back to Simon Runnett, Malin, Orrell, Morna Skeleton, Mason Richards, they are all trying to hold those wheels as they make the way up here. But right up at the front, this is the leading pack. Just about 8 or 9 riders together. Everybody else is fighting for wheels here. The roller coaster nature of this course means it's very difficult to get maximum assistance on the way through. Jimmy Allen, though, the experienced Jimmy Allen, the legendary Jimmy Allen, the man who puts Russ into the shadow every time they go out riding. It's Jimmy who gets recognised, let's face it, as they come through. It's Downing now on his way towards the front. Ross is up here, and Ross putting in another good ride here. So Andy Ross now continues to push through, but no one is able to hold the front for very long here as this group makes its way round. We're coming up. It's going to be 1 lap to go as they come underneath the arch. So 1 more lap to go for our leaders. 1 more lap to go here on the Donny Chaingang, live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. Our leaders are clear and away. This is the leading group. And at the moment, we've got about 10 riders in this pack. Just trying to get a quick count of our numbers in here. In fact, it's near 12 riders at the moment. They've now got 19 seconds on this. This is a chasing group, and they need to work together. If this group can work together, they're going to be able to keep the gap down to a minimum as they make their way along here. So this is group number 2 at the moment. Meanwhile, the leaders nicely around that turn, and you can just see Mason on the front in the black just continues to push on. That disco wheel on there, all in black. So that is group number 1 nicely together. Into the last lap here, they're going to take the left-hand turn and onto that small loop through the sprint line. Can't imagine anybody is going to go for that sprint just to get a fast time, because it's going to be very, very difficult then to be able to finish this off. At the moment, you can just see, I think Kieran Smith is aware of the danger being posed here by Mason, as Mason keeps the pressure on the pedals. He's not sprinting, but he is putting out some big watts, and I think he wants to break that group up. Greg Booker has responded to that, because Booker is up at the nearly 8 watts per kilo mark. Well, look at this. Russ Downing sees the danger. Russ is on his way. Russ Downing now comes across the gap. Is he bringing them all with him, or is he going to make it on his own? Genther comes through. They've used that sprint, the lack of potentially of people going for the sprint to go hard there, and Genther now goes on the front. Is Genther going to attack over the top of the sprint here? Genther's on the top. He's kicking out big watts again. So I think they're going to use this sprint time. They've gone through the sprint and then attacked over the top. Daryl Tatchell-Waller goes with them. So Tatchell Waller just on the front, Genther on his heels here, and that has split this group in 2. So we have 3 riders on the front. It's Mason in the black with that power up, then Kieran Smith coming on that Tron bike with the green wheels. Genther in there, Booker in there, Booth in there, Downing in there as well, and it looks like Tatchell-Waller really is the last man in this group. And at the moment, we are going to have, I think it's going to be 8 riders together behind them. Then I think the gap is back to Dowtree, and Dowtree is left with this chasing pack who are now a group 2 out on the road. They've got to try and close that gap down. It's currently at 4 seconds now. This is a very fast group of riders, or it should be, because we've got Ross in here, OZK in here. We've got Dench in this group as well. We've got Jimmy Allen in there. Looks like Shelley Charles is in this group as well. Osmond's a little bit further back on his own. He's got Donahue and Clark and the whole gang chasing behind, trying to close that gap down. But up at the front, you can just see everybody is feeling the pressure here, and those gaps have opened. It's about 5 seconds back to the pack behind, but this is the leading group as they make their way down here. So being led out at the moment by Genther, Kieran Smith. So Genther is the rider with the map cap on the blue Tron bike. Then we have Kieran Smith on the yellow Tron bike. In the orange Tron bike, that's Daryl Tatchell-Waller. Waller. Booth is the rider with the red midriff with the white shoulders. We've got Downing with the beacon over the top. Bucket in that blue, dark blue jersey with the black shorts in there. And then we've got Mason, the man, all in black up on the front, continuing to push on and try and open the gaps. But at the moment it's Genther, then Mason, then Tattershaw, Waller, Booker, Smith, Booth in here. Now, Atkinson is sat in the blue in with this gang at the moment, just trying to hold this group together, I think, because I'm sure he'll want to keep on going a little bit further at the moment. So our riders at the front, having completed the little loop, they're now going to take the right-hand turn, and they're going to be onto the bigger loop with that 10% climb. Is anybody going to be able to attack and go away? Now, we were here, and we've used this course before, and Dean Watson, in fact, put in a massive solo attack and broke clear on a breakaway. He was on some fantastic form that day, and he really did hand it out to everybody else. Are we going to see a repeat of that on the climb? It is absolutely nailed at the moment. Russ looking pretty smooth in here. So Russ at the moment 86 beats per minute, and I think Russ has gone that hard. His heart rate's gone off the charts at the moment. Just looking at Mason's heart rate, currently 165. Craig Genther currently in there 161. So Atkinson is sitting at 167. Some big similarities really with this group. Just keeping an eye. Russ just sat at the back here, just watching these riders, just not letting them go too far down the road. 7 seconds back to that chasing group, who aren't that far behind these riders. But remember, we've got this big 10% kicker coming up very shortly indeed, as our riders make the way in up on to the climb here. So they have got a real kicker to come as we come around this left and right hand turn. It's going to go up to 10%, a really good trigger point for a climber. So remember, we've got, of course, Kieran Smith in here, and Kieran Smith is one rider who we know can really do the business, a hill climb medalist, of course, but he's got some big names in there with him, and he's going to have to keep his eyes open. And I think Booth is looking good today. Again, he's in with this group. Booker is very, very attentive. He doesn't want to let anything go, and trying to keep in with the pack now. Let's keep an eye on these guys, because I think Kieran is about to go for it. You just see the numbers going up here. So here we go. The numbers are kicking. We're just riding in with Kieran Smith as they come up onto the top crest in the climb. You can see it's Mason going over the top. Then Kieran Smith down. He's trying to go over the top. That was the steepest section, but there's a second kick still to come, and Downing trying to press home the advantage. He's not broken this group. The attack there by Smith quickly followed up by everyone else, and Kieran Smith goes again on the next riser coming up here, and every time it goes uphill they're trying to smash this group apart. Booth is now the rider who's been distant, so Booth has gone off the back of the group here, and Booth is in trouble. You can just see he has got a gap between him and the riders in front. He can't afford to let that go. Genther now with a monstrous kick on the front. Genther puts in a big kick. It's not broken him clear, and the group is fracturing now, and it looks to me like Kieran Smith and Darryl Tattershaw Waller are a little bit on the edge here. You've got Booth right off the back of them, but at the moment it's Genther who's gone, and Downing knows the danger of letting him go, but it's Downing who comes up on to his wheel. So it's Genther and Downing up at the front. Downing leading, Genther in second position. Genther on that Tron bike. Russ with the beacon up over his head. Then it's Mason, Atkinson, Kieran Smith and Darryl Tattershaw Waller in the group. So Darryl TW Tattershaw Waller in here. We're on the orange Tron bike. Kieran Smith on the greeny yellow Tron bike. In the blue and white is Atkinson. Mason, the figure in black, the only rider not riding on a Tron bike in this group, as we see more pushes up on the front. The leading riders now with a 3-second advantage. So it is Genther on the front. Then it's Downing. Downing just yo-yoing behind us. Just seeing Genther continuing to put another kick in. The gap back is now extending. Now, don't believe the time gaps until we get back across to the after the next right-hand turn. It's not going to be accurate. Now, it's saying it's at 9 seconds. I think that's more like 4 seconds between the riders. It's we'll see what it comes up as they take the right-hand turn. We get back onto the standard course. But at the moment, it's Downing and Genther together. So Downing and Genther together taking the right-hand turn. They've done the downhill section here. And behind them, I think Atkinson just teeing it up, ready to try and get across. They know that time is starting to run out. They're now on the return leg here. So at the moment, at the very front of the group, it's 5 seconds between Downing and Genther. And the chasers behind, Russ leading it out at the moment. A 5 second the gap. That's quite a long way on this course. It's not insurmountable as Genther continues to push here, and you can just see Genther just putting in a bit of a kick here, not going too hard. He's gone again and repeatedly trying to get rid of Downing at the moment. Downing is just behind him. There's nothing to choose in this, so Genther at the moment, he's got Downing at 8 metres, so he's broken the elastic. Can he keep it? Snapped 9 metres. Russ continues to push, so Downing here pushes to try and get back on, but he's at 4.5 watts per kilo, and every time Genther yo-yos up and down, the gap is just stretching here. He's got to hold him at check, because we're going to be up on to the top of the lakeside very shortly. When he does that, if he can continue to push on, Genther could break clear for a solo victory here. Downing has to respond. The rest of them, well, I'm afraid they're in danger of being the first losers. They're really going to have to work to close them down in front. You've got Tatchell, Waller, Atkinson all in here. Kieran Smith in here. They can see Downing is in front and Genther's in front now. It's 4 or 5 seconds, but they cannot afford to let that gap go out anymore. Time is running out. Downing now goes over the top, and Downing and Genther going to cancel each other out here because they are side by side. It's leveled up now. The advantage is with that chasing pack. If they work together, Atkins is being left on the front here, and the numbers are woeful from some of these riders. They are not doing enough to pull back the two leaders. If they're content to get an also ran, if they're content to be in third place, they need to just keep on doing what they're doing, because the gap really has opened up here. If we take a look back, you can see how small the figures are in the distance behind Russ, and at the moment the time is ticking on. So here they come. They are absolutely hurtling down. They're not far to go to the line. They're going to overtake one of our riders who's still out on course here. So in they come. You can just see at the moment riding in with Genther and Downing together. The gap has opened behind them. They've continued to push, and everybody else are just, well, you're going to need a set of binoculars to see them in the distance now. Looks like Russ going on the front. Genther's used a power up early here, so I think if that was me, I'd have been holding on to that and using that to springboard through, to come from about 5 or 6, right at the limit of the draft, 6 metres back to come through. Genther's gone for this. He's gone early, but I think he's gone too early, because Downing is still sat on his wheels waiting to kick. He's got Genther in front. Can he respond to this? Now Genther goes hard. Genther's gone hard here, and I think Craig Genther's going to get this. Genther is going to be the man who's going to take this. He goes into the gantry. Craig Genther, great victory, and definitely a just reward for all of that aggressive riding behind. Kieran Smith is chasing Downing through for third, so it's Genther in 1, Downing in 2, Smith in 3, it's Mason in 4, Atkinson's going to come through for 5, Darryl Tattershaw Waller in 6, behind them then the chasing group. Well, this is what is left of it. Booth has been caught here by Jimmy Allen, and it looks like Phil Ozike in here, so Ozike's in here. It looks like Andy Ross in this group just chasing behind, but this is who it's going to come from. Who's got the kick? So Booth has gone hard here. He's trying to jump in with him as he's got the jump on the other two. So at the moment, Booth has the jump on the rest of them. He's going to come through. He's going to take what is going to be 7th place here. So Booth comes through. He's going to take 7th place, just getting caught, but then able to kick clear. Then A.D. Dench comes through, being followed in by Jimmy Allen behind him. Then I think it's going to be Kooslugs just coming through. Oh, just in front of Ozike. Dowtry coming through with Ross on his heels. Childs coming through. Going to drop back a little bit further. Simon Runnett on his way in towards the line. So Runnett's going to be our next rider. Then it's going to be Richardson. So Richardson moving well out on course at the moment, and I think Richardson, after all that work he did, is going to be our next rider in. It looks like Cooper's got a little bit of a gap on the bunch he was with, so I think Cooper not leaving it to a sprint this time. So Simon Runnick going through, just about holding on. Then it's going to be Richardson who comes through on his own. Tim Cooper leading the charge here. He's got Donny on his heels here. Donny trying to close him down, but it is going to be Cooper who's going to take this. It's Cooper. Then Donny coming through. Then it's going to be Osman, Crehan, Samuel going through. Clark and Goddard come chasing behind. Clark coming through, doing another good ride. I'll tell you something, Mick Clark's regularly in and doing an amazing ride. As Goddard now on his way in here. Now, how far behind is that group? Goddard can't afford to relax. They're only 3 seconds behind him, but they can come quick if they get a move on here. So let's see how he's moving. So Goddard at the moment, I think he's just about going to, yep, under he goes. He holds them off behind him then. You can just see Johnson going through in front of Morn, Dubash, Garfoot. I think all of the team in here are just going to drop back a little bit further just to try and get away from all of the riders who's come through in one big group here. Because if we stick with them, we're going to get caught out. So it's Malin, Oral and Ball up there. This is Crease and Bobby Mason on the way in. So Bobby Mason is the rider in the blue. Crease is the rider in the orange. So Crease 181 beats per minute at the moment, 143 from Mason, who's going to take the sprint between these two. Crease now moving up onto the front. He's got 7 watts per kilo. He eases back, kicks again. I think he's just about going to come clear here. Mason's trying to respond to this, but he can't answer Crease. It's Crease there, Mason coming through behind him then. I think we're going to see Richards, so it's Keith Richards, and then it's going to be, I think, Greg Booker, who was in that leading group for a long time, getting distanced out of the back of it, and now paying the price. Big time gaps back to Booker. So Richards is going to be our next rider in as he comes up to the line. So past the pens and into the gantry point goes Richards. And underneath the gantry, Booker's going to come in and through. Good run by Greg. Then behind, well, this is Gibbons and Hilbert. And I think Gibbons is going to take this from Hilbert here. Hilbert pushing just at the wrong time. They're not quite able to take him when he needed to. This is our next group coming in at this pace. So let's have a little look. Davis is going to be our next rider, I think, leading it out. So here we go. Davis comes through. So Owen Davis takes that from Stevens. Lone rider in there. Taylor in there. Fantastic riding. So we're going to just drop back a little ways because it's going to be Antonio and Donny who is clear of Cannon, then Ferron, Mansfield, Bolt, Campbell, Barton and Co. So Antonio on this run to the line here. So he's going to be our next rider who's going to come through the gantry. Looking good at the moment, and Antonio and Donny are back on to the Chaingang, back up to base ahead of Cannon. Cannon gets the aero in here. It's quite a long way out at this point, but you can see the gantry. He's going to use that to pick the pace up here, and now riding at 42 kph. He's going to come into this descent and just trying to hold that speed all the way into the line. So Cannon's going to be our next finisher on the Donny Chaingang here live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. Next up will be Ferron, Bolt and Mansfield. I think Ferris is going to put a bit of a kick in here. He comes through just ahead of Caroline Mansfield. So gritty having Mansfield coming through as our next rider in through the line with Bolt with him. We're going to drop back a little bit further because I think Barton is going to be our next rider. We're going to just take a little bit of a run up the road to Campbell. I think it is going to be Campbell, the next rider, heading towards the line here. So David Campbell on a good ride here on the standard Swift Aero frame. Deep rims on though. And that is going to be to his advantage on these last few metres as he heads in. He's going to come in ahead of Barton. Then behind Barton we're going to have Killingsworth, Cookie and I think Langmead is going to be out the front of this group. So it is going to be Barton, our next rider, chasing in behind Campbell. But Campbell looking good here as he comes up to the line. So as he comes in, David Campbell kicking out 4 watts per kilo on his run-in and doing a great ride there. We're going to jump back to Barton. And then it should be Killingsworth and Cookie. Let's see if we can get hold of Russ. Russ should be on the other end of a phone line on the good days. Always handy to see if we can get the man himself, see if he's in one piece after that, because it looked he a pretty tough ride out there. So, Russ, how are you doing?
Hey up.
Hey up, are you in one piece or are you in little bits and pieces everywhere?
I was just trying to find the earbud off the floor and the towel. And, I'm in a mess, mate. Absolutely in a mess. Heart rate blew it up. Blew my heart rate up, so I only had a fan on one speed. I was like, oh, come on. But yeah, what a laugh that was.
It was good, wasn't it? I was impressed. Everyone was staying together for so long, but then once it went, it was like somebody dropped a grenade in the bunch and it just blew shrapnel everywhere and people were scattered all over. Then that group just kept on coming down and down and down with the hills. It's a good, I mean, it's never going to be described as an easy course, is it? But it is a good course to ride.
Yeah, it's really good. You know, you've got the little kickers, you've got some of the courses, you do 48k on them, it seems to take forever because you're steady, 30, 35k an hour. But on that, you're getting up to 56k an hour and down to 15, and it's very varied. And like I said, a lot of people on the chat are saying, "Oh, great, can we come back?" And they must be mad because that was hard.
Well, I think everybody's a little bit mad when they're on the chain. It is tough, but the way that the gang's working at the moment, it is absolutely superb. It stays together and then helps each other. And then when the racing's on, the racing's on. And that's how it should be, with the groups working together well behind. And we saw lots of little groups forming. And that's what we've always said. Once we're coming into that finish, if you're not with the very front, find a group, work together, make friends, not enemies. And it certainly seems to be happening right now.
Yeah, I've had two rides on the bounce where my chat's on walkabouts for 20 minutes. No problem. Don't even need it, do I now? I come back on board. Everybody's still tight. It's still good. So yeah, I might just be able to turn my chat off in a couple of weeks and just ride round and enjoy the ride because we all know what we're doing. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, just in time for September when it all goes mad again and we start getting loads of people back on. Don't forget, of course, you will have priority if you're a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and you will get priority. You get the links before anybody else, and that ensures that you're on the ride first. No queuing up on a ride at a time, so make sure you get in there. We just see Mike Killingsworth, one of our regular riders, with Miss Cookie on the way in here, and it shows you just how quick it's been. They're coming right in very quickly indeed here as they come up to the line, and great riding by these two just behind Barton.
Yeah, it seems like every week, the front guys finish, they do a little bit, quick call with you, and then we're back to the computer screen, and the red beacon's finishing. So, one time a day it was 15 minutes until those guys were coming in, but they're all just bossing it behind, and I think, like I say, it helps with the group being so tight. It drags them in further into the ride, and then they can ride their own tempo and get some fitness out of it.
Yeah, and riding well, they're over the line, which means it's time to let you go get some recovery done. And looking forward to next week's ride already. And I'm sure you'll be out over the weekend at some point.
Yeah, I don't know about the weekend off.
I don't blame you, mate. I wish I was. Well, listen, Russ, whatever you do, enjoy it. We'll catch up with you soon and have fun.
Cheers, mate, and have a good weekend if you're on the mics and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, another XCE that you can log on to. The links will be up on my Facebook page. So another hour's fast action coming to you from Oudenaarde, which is somewhere Russ will know well.
I've lived just around the corner from there, so know it very well, and it's a great place.
Well, you'll see lots of familiar sights then on Sunday evening, I'm sure. So cheers, Russ. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
So great to catch up with Russ. Our riders on the way through our red beacon and Miss Cookie just warming down to that blue banner that is the end of the ride. So we're going to leave them to that as we are going to do a little wrap up because it's the end of the show and it's the end of another week on the Donny Chaingang. Don't forget, if you want the links, if you want to know where you're going, join the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang. First up, we'll get you all of the links before anybody else. And don't forget, it helps us keep the show on the road. So we've got lots more to come on the Donny Chaingang. Make sure that you tune in, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit likes on everything. You know the score with social media. It's all about getting those clicks. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, you can catch up with me this weekend. I'm going to be coming out live with the UCI XE Eliminator fast mountain bike action around the town centre of Oudenaarde. Russ will be out on the bike, and I'll be back here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel on Tuesday for the next Donny Chaingang. It's been a pleasure putting words to the action. We'll see you soon.